Hello, my name is Caleb Kloster. I'll be giving you a brief history on Henry H. Arnold and his life and effect on air power, specifically in the military. So Henry H. Arnold was in, born 1886 in Pennsylvania to a physician who was in the military. His secondary name was Hap H. Arnold. He was always pretty happy from his time at West Point to his final retirement and death. He's commissioned into the Army on June 14th, 1907. He got that commission by going through West Point. So during his time at West Point, he formed an infamous group called the Black Hand. They sound evil, they're not. It's just a pranksters group. He served as the president of that group until his first year was up, and then he served as a running back on the football team. After receiving his commission, he got a commission into the infantry. He was looking for a commission into the cavalry, but his grades were not to the standard they should be to get a commission to the cavalry. So he reluctantly decided to join the infantry. His first duty station was in the Philippines, and during his time there, he helped the captain map out some of the islands and got quite a bit of experience in cartography. In 1911, he was assigned to the Signal Corps and was sent to Dayton, Ohio. During his time in Dayton, he was taught to fly by the Wright brothers. So the Signal Corps was kind of the first step of the Air Force. So went kind of the Signal Corps, then the Army Air Force, and then the actual independent Air Force. During this time, Henry H. Arnold made friends with Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell was a member of the United States Air Force or the United States Army, and was very blatant and belligerent about pushing for a separate Air Force, not just the Army Air Force. He wanted like the actual Air Force as it is today, because his superiors didn't think air power was going to go as far as it has. They shut him down. They court-martialed him, and he was found in insubordination and was kicked out of the military. Henry, because he was his friend and helped try to keep him in the military, kind of carried on that vision and helped form the Air Force as we know it today. He was one of the first military aviators, one of the first licensed pilots. So he's the third licensed pilot and one of the pretty much the very first military aviator. In 1912, Henry set a new record in the Burgess Wright airplane of 6,540 feet, highest anyone flown in a Wright aircraft at that time. He also was doing maneuver showings and exhibitions over New York and the Eastern Seaboard. Later in 1912, he would serve as an artillery observer. Being an artillery observer this early on was pretty impressive because it allowed the use of airplanes and proved that it could be effective. So if you're firing artillery downrange, you're not knowing, you have no idea where it's hitting. You don't know if you're being effective. You don't know if you're hitting target, missing target by 300 miles, not 300 miles, 300 feet. He was able to have a radio up in the aircraft and radio down corrections and make that artillery fire much more effective and much more lethal, which led to him being the first military to use a radio to report artillery observations and troop movements. On November 26, 1931, Arnold would be given the command of the Air Corps station at March Field, Riverside, California. Significant. This is his first command. He was tasked with turning March Field from an aviation school into a bomber group and a fighter group. This had been done before, but not from a school. In 1934, one of Henry's biggest achievements in actually him flying for aviation, he led 10 Martin B-10 bombers, which was the first all-metal bomber produced by the U.S. on a trip from Washington, D.C. to Fairbanks, Alaska and back. So that's a very long trip, obviously. On June 30th, 1941, he was named the Chief of the Army Air Force. So basically, he was put in command of the Army Air Force. And under the Army Air Force, under Henry, the Army Air Force grew from 3,900 aircraft to 7,500 aircraft, or 75,000 aircraft, sorry. And from 22,000 men to 2.5 million men. He retired on June 30th, 1946. On May 7th, 1949, he was appointed by Congress as the first five-star general of the Air Force. He never served in the role, but he was awarded it. And he passed away on January 15th, 1950. An image I want to mention is the one to the bottom right. It's him looking at the Memphis Belle, which was one of the most successful B-17 bombers. Its crew and the aircraft successfully did 19 raids over Germany without injury. That was unheard of. You never could expect those kind of. You always had to expect more losses than that. At the end of the day, Henry served in all three organizations, from the Army Signal Corps to the Army Air Force to the United States Air Force. The dates below all of those are the dates they were founded. He served as the first five-star general of the U.S. Air Force. And him pushing for an independent Air Force is one of the reasons we have one today. And it is what it is. The reason we have air power as a country. Source I used Arnold's his autobiography in Global Mission, Chapter 8 specifically for that stuff. I used the Air Force website as well as the Department of Defense website. Thank you.